Walk into almost any old Amish farmhouse on the hottest day of August, and the basement feels cold. Not cool, cold. 65 degrees, sometimes lower. No air conditioner runs. No fan hums. And in the corner, 4 clay pipes point north. Most people who tour these homes never notice them. They look like leftover drainage, old forgotten plumbing from another century. Those 4 pipes, though, are the whole secret. They are the reason the family upstairs has never paid a cooling bill. Here is something the cooling industry would rather you forgot. 6 feet below your house, the ground does not care what season it is. It stays the same temperature all year, around 55 degrees in January, in July. It never moves. Think about that for a second. While the air above is baking at 95, the earth a few feet down sits cool and steady. That deep, unchanging cold has a name among the old builders. They called it the breath of the ground. The Amish did not invent this idea. They preserved it. Long before electricity reached the countryside, farmers buried clay pipes under their foundations and let the earth do the cooling. No motors, no refrigerant. Just dirt, depth, and a little understanding of air. The principle is almost embarrassingly simple. Air pulled through a long pipe buried deep in cool soil gives up its heat to the ground. By the time that air reaches your basement, it has dropped 20, 30 degrees. It arrives cold. Builders today have a fancy name for it. Earth tubes, ground-coupled heat exchangers. The Amish never needed the vocabulary. They just knew that the ground was the cheapest air conditioner ever made, and it ran on absolutely nothing. So why north? Why do those 4 pipes always face the same direction? It is not superstition. It is not tradition for its own sake. It comes down to where the coolest, shadiest, most stable air can be found. The north side of any house in the northern hemisphere gets the least direct sun. The ground there stays shaded and damp, cooler than every other side. So the intake pipes reach out toward the north, drinking in the chilliest air the property offers. And why 4? 1 pipe moves a trickle. 4 pipes move a river of air. The old builders learned through trial and error that a single tube could not feed a whole house. 4 gave them the volume to cool every room above. Picture the system from the side. 4 pipes start in the cool, shaded north ground, far from the house. They run downward, deep into the earth, then turn and rise gently into the basement floor. Cold air pours out where they open. But cold air alone does nothing if it just sits there. It has to move. It has to be pulled through the pipes, up the stairs, and through the rooms. And here is where the old design becomes truly clever. The Amish never used a fan to pull that air. They used the sun. The very thing making the day hot becomes the engine that cools the house. It sounds backwards. Once you understand it, you will never see a hot attic the same way. Heat rises. Every child knows that. Hot air climbs to the top of a house and gets trapped near the roof. In an Amish home, that trapped heat is not a problem to fight. It is the fuel for the whole machine. At the very top of the house sits a vent or a small tower, often on the sunniest side. The sun bakes it. The air inside it turns scorching. And scorching air does only one thing. It races upward and escapes. As that hot air rushes out the top, it leaves something behind. Empty space. A vacuum. And nature cannot stand a vacuum. Something has to rush in to fill it. So the house begins to pull air from somewhere lower. Somewhere cooler. Where does it pull from? The basement. The 4 pipes. As the hot air escapes the roof, it drags cold air up out of those north-facing tubes, through the whole house, floor by floor. The hotter the day, the harder it pulls. Let that sink in. The system gets stronger exactly when you need it most. A blazing afternoon does not overwhelm the house. It powers it. The same sun that runs a modern air conditioner's bill into the hundreds runs this for free. They call this a thermosiphon, a loop of moving air driven by heat alone. No switch, no thermostat, no moving parts to break. The hot air leaving the top is forever pulling cool air in from the bottom, day and night. Now, here is a question worth asking. Why does the ground stay so cold down there in the first place? Why 55 degrees and not warmer in summer? The answer is mass. The earth is enormous, and it is slow to change. The sun heats the surface, but that heat takes months to crawl down through the soil. By the time summer's warmth finally reaches 6 feet deep, it is already autumn up above. Down there, the seasons run late and weak, nearly flat. That is why the depth matters so much. Bury the pipes too shallow, and they feel the day's heat. Bury them 6 feet or more, and they tap into that steady underground cold that summer can never reach. Depth is everything here. The length matters too. A short pipe does not give the air enough time to shed its heat. The old builders ran their tubes long, sometimes 100 feet or more, snaking through the cold soil before turning back toward the house. Every foot of pipe in the cold ground steals a little more heat from the air inside it. By the end of a long run, hot summer air that entered at 90 leaves the pipe at 60. The earth has done all the work. Think of the old root cellars our grandparents kept. Cold enough to store potatoes and milk through the hottest summer, with no ice and no machine. Same principle. The earth holds the cold, and the smart builder simply borrows it. There is another quiet benefit nobody talks about. As that warm summer air slides through the cold pipe, moisture in it condenses on the walls and drips away. The air arrives not just cooler, but drier. Less of that heavy, sticky feeling. Why did the builders choose clay pipe instead of metal? Clay does not rust. It does not corrode. Buried in damp soil, a clay pipe can last a century without rotting away. Some of these systems are older than the people living above them. Clay does one more thing metal cannot. It holds the cold of the soil around it and shares it slowly. The pipe itself becomes part of the cooling. A heavy, cold wall of earthenware the air must pass through every single time. Now compare that to what we do today. We seal our houses tight. We trap the heat inside. Then we bolt on a loud machine that burns electricity all day just to undo the problem we built. The Amish skipped the whole mistake. Their houses were designed to breathe from the very first stone. The cooling was not added on. It was built in. Part of the foundation itself. You cannot unplug it because it was never plugged in. It simply works, season after season. And it does not stop in summer. Run the same system in winter, and it works in reverse. That 55-degree ground is now warmer than the freezing air outside. The pipes pull up gentle, pre-warmed air. One design. Both seasons. No bill. So why did almost everyone forget this? Why is something this simple a near secret today? The answer is uncomfortable. There is no money in a cooling system that costs nothing to run. Nobody can sell you what the dirt gives away free. When electric air conditioning arrived, it was sold as progress, modern, effortless. Push a button and forget. The old Earth systems were branded as primitive, backward, something to tear out and pave over. And quietly, across one generation, the knowledge slipped away. The Amish never bought the story. They watched their neighbors wire up machines and open monthly bills that only climbed. They looked down at their 4 cold pipes pointing north, and they kept exactly what they had. Why fix what was never broken? Engineers have studied these buried systems with modern instruments. The numbers hold up. A well-built earth tube can deliver air in the 50s and 60s on the hottest day using no power at all. The old farmers were right the whole time. Universities build them now and give them careful names. Research labs publish papers. Green builders install them in expensive new homes and call them cutting edge. The same idea a plain farmer buried under his barn 100 years ago with a shovel. There is a lesson hiding in those 4 pipes, and it goes far beyond cooling. The Amish understood something we traded away, that the best systems are the simplest ones. The ones with nothing to break. The ones that work when the power fails. When the grid goes dark on a summer night, the modern house turns into an oven within hours. The Amish house does not notice. Its cooling never depended on a wire. The ground keeps breathing. The pipes keep pulling. Nothing changes at all. Think about how much we pay for that same comfort. The unit. The repairs. The rising bill every single month, year after year, for decades. Now picture paying it once in sweat and clay pipe, and then never again. Just steady, free cold. It makes you wonder what else got buried along with this knowledge. How many simple, durable answers our grandparents knew were quietly replaced by something we have to plug in, pay for, and replace every 10 years. How much wisdom we paved over. The 4 pipes pointing north are not really about pipes. They are about a way of thinking. Work with the world instead of against it. Let the sun do the pulling. Let the earth do the cooling. And let yourself stop paying for both. Every piece of the design answers a question. North for the coldest ground. Deep for the steady cold. Long for the time to cool. 4 for the volume. And the rising hot air at the top for the gentle, endless pour. Nothing wasted. Stand in one of those basements on a brutal August afternoon and you feel it on your skin. The cold air sliding out of the floor. Steady. Silent. Older than the light bulb. A whole house cooled by dirt, depth, and a clever idea. It asks a hard question of all of us. We call ourselves advanced. We have more power and more machines than any people in history. Yet a plain farmer with a shovel solved a problem we now throw thousands of dollars at every year. So the next time you stand over a hot air vent and listen to a machine fight the summer, remember the 4 cold pipes pointing north. Remember that the ground beneath your own feet has been waiting all along to do the work for free.